Welcome to Spider-Verse Minute, the tri-weekly podcast where we watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 1 minute at a time. I'm Caroline Slater.
And I'm her brother Sean.
And today we are discussing Minute 80. It starts with Miles trying to turn invisible, and ends a minute later with the other Spider People swinging away.
What did you title this minute?
Knowing You're Ready.
Yeah, like we said last minute, to just jump right in, the leap of faith you'll know when you're ready bits was the other parts from the billboard scene, and they actually had to go back in and add that. Like, that wasn't originally part of this, part of this scene. They weren't like duplicating that information, and originally the line was, "Now you don't have to be Spider-Man," and then he jumps out and leaves, which kind of like ties
That's
into the
sad.
Yeah, kind of sad. It's sort of like Peter trying to take a weight off of Miles. I kind of missed this bit, yeah, because it was like the billboard scene was talking about how Miles didn't really want this, like, the expectations to tie it back into that theme. Is that expectation, and this is Peter trying to remove that expectation and that weight from Miles.
Yeah, with the context of that, if the billboard scene was still there, then I think it would have been a pretty good line. I still think it would have been sad.
Oh yeah, no, it's not meant to be it's delivered in a sad fashion.
Like as we said, like the billboard scene, as much as we liked it, we're glad that they cut it up and split it in the other minutes.
Yeah.
This is also the minute where the thesis is, as we talked about last minute, is
Continued,
and I think this is more like where it's stated. It's like it takes a leap of faith. Like, you don't know, you just kind of have to trust it.
Yeah, that's true. This is like the middle part of the thesis.
Yeah.
And it's that leap of faith line.
Mm-hmm. I do love that line.
Yeah, it's a good line. I don't remember if they used it all much in the advertising, the actual line, but they definitely used the like imagery of it.
They definitely used the imagery. I don't think they used the line that much, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk more about the trailers and doing all that when it comes to the credits.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked, so at the end of last minute, Peter knocks Miles down, jumps onto the ceiling, and then catches him, and pretty much demands that if Miles thinks he's ready, then he has to show Peter that he's able to use his powers on command.
Yeah.
With either the Venom Strike or using the invisibility. And Miles starts struggling a bit, and I like the kind of fake out they started to do with it, where it's like the music is rising, Peter's eyes even like grow a little bit, and then it's a nice sort of just like another punch in the gut kind of thing. Like, it's a good way of like the showing the like helping. It enhances what the characters are feeling at that time as well, and then makes that inevitable or not the inevitable failure, but the failure then, that much worse.
Yeah, and I think the what also helps make the failure feel so bad, again, all of the music and stuff as well, but even before, like, we had just seen him using his powers.
Yeah.
With Uncle Aaron. Well, not with Uncle Aaron, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, in that scene. So then to see him, like, he just had it, now to have him not. Like, you almost feel Miles' frustration with him.
Yeah. And like, you can also see everybody else's like sadness with him, or like, sadness at the fact that he's not able to work, because they want him to, like, they don't want to leave him behind. They want him to be able to join them.
Yeah, and I think that line, there's a line that really shows that, and it's when Noir says "poor little guy." It's very soft. I do love that they gave it to Noir to say the line, just because it feels like
he was sort of the rough and tumbly kind of guy.
I guess it feels like you feeling the sympathy, not just from Gwen, not just from the people he's been with the longest, but also these people that he kind of just met. Like,
yeah.
And also that whole, it is coming from the toughest guy who was, like, knocking him down earlier. Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the guy that puts on the toughest front, like, having that bit of sympathy coming from him is, that much worse.
The only other thing I have is when they're swinging away, we get to see Miles real quick, and you can see the anger in his eyes as he's watching them swing away.
I took it more as, like, I guess anger at himself.
Yeah, I just saw anger. I didn't really see it directed towards who it was. I couldn't make it out clear who it was, but I just saw anger, maybe frustration as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's really, because, like, the way when Peter let him down, like, after he wasn't able to use his powers, definitely, like, he slumped his shoulders, and like, you could tell he was defeated at that point. And so I feel like this is more like he realizes the truth in what Peter is saying, and this is just him angry at himself for not being able to get a handle of his powers quicker.
Yeah, which is crappy.
Yeah,
because, like, he's literally, he really did not get that much of a chance, or, like, really the proper training he needed to be able to get a handle of his powers.
Yeah, it's all still very, very, very new for
him. So new. Like, what? Didn't we figure out that he's only had his powers for, what, 2 days?
A week
now?
At most.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit longer, but, like, yeah, like, maybe, like, Monday to Friday kind of duration.
Like, he has not had much time with them, and most of the time he's had them, he's kind of focused on other things at the moment.
Yeah.
Such as not dying.
The only, like, kind of real bit of training he had was swinging through the forest.
Yeah, and even then it was a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
So it's like they haven't really been able to completely focus on his powers. So I think, at least in my head, that makes his anger towards himself even worse. It's like, you're not getting a good hand here, Miles. Like, don't be too hard on yourself.
And I like I like Peter as he's sitting on the wall right outside the window.
Yeah.
I like he kind of looks down. The feeling I get is when he looks down and he's sad, like he's got that sadness on his face, but then he pulls over his mask and you can kind of start to see his face change into, like, a look of determination and, like, focus. And it's sort of it's something that's kind of touched on in a lot of superhero stuff, and especially in, like, Spider-Man stuff, where like when they're wearing the costume, they sort of take on a, like, almost different persona. Like, they're able to do things that they're not able to do in their normal life.
Yeah, like when they're in full costume, mask and everything.
Yeah, and this is sort of Peter going into that mode, is like, with his mask off, he's only partially in that mode, but then mask on means it's business time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you think he's disappointed in himself?
I think a bit. I think it's himself, just disappointed in the fact that Miles wasn't able, not at Miles, but in the fact that Miles wasn't able to, get a grasp of his powers in the time that they needed, and, just the fact that he couldn't help him more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you think he's thinking, like, I should have helped him more type thing? Like, maybe if I wasn't so stubborn in the beginning, he would have had his back. Like, do you think it's anything like that?
I think some of that. I also think they're, like, maybe part of the reason he was able to do this, like, part of the reason he was able to sort of accept living here is that he thinks now he'll actually be able to train Miles.
Oh, okay.
And so that could, like, help him focus, at least at this point, is he's not just leaving Miles like this behind forever. is he'll be able to come back and then help Miles get a grasp of his powers. And
if Miles even forgave him, because...
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah, and assuming he lives long enough to do that.
I was just curious. I wanted to get your take on it, because I was kind of thinking that. I'm like, everyone feels not happy.
Yeah.
Everyone's upset. Do you have anything else for this minute?
The last thing I wanted to touch on is just they shoot the webs into the sky. And I just kind of love that about like kind of Spider-Man in general and this movie they do, where it's just like, what do his webs attach to? It doesn't matter.
The sun.
Yeah, maybe there's just a bunch of construction going on. It's New York. There's always construction, so there's just
really is. There
everywhere,
really is. All the time. Like just like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. We had a Burger King and Popeyes joint open around the corner from us. They've been closed for who knows how, like since I moved in, so it's like they've been closed for months. Because I remember they finally opened and we're like, oh, hey! Awesome.
Like the animators were even like, they were constantly getting questions from the pedantic department, because they were always like, they'd get like, well, where are they attached to? It's like comic book writers, the comic artists never have to deal with this, and they do a little bit, but probably not to the extent that a movie or probably not to the like level, that a movie has to. Best way
to respond. Comic book writers don't have to deal with this. You're not making a comic book. No, but we're making a moving one. We're going with comic book logic here. Like, okay, fair point.
Yep, that was the last thing I had for this minute.
That's all I have as well.
Well, then thank you for joining us this Wednesday for Minute 80. Join us on Friday to see Minute 81 and how the rest of this starts to play out.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.